Lazy. When you need a break, you can't take one because otherwise you aren't working hard enough. You're being selfish. You can't step away from your commitments because others are depending on you. Why are you so weak? You cannot falter under the weight of any pressure you feel because you should be able to handle it. For most teenagers I know, including myself, these are some of the thoughts that run through my mind and our minds when what we really feel is exhausted and hopeless. These thoughts persist because that is the culture we live in. Those are the expectations placed on us by others. Why should we be allowed a break when other generations have pushed through this time in their life and made it look easy? But just for a moment, consider with me that our generation is dealing with unprecedented experiences that aren't easy to deal with, and frankly, shouldn't be treated as if they are. Every student in this room is at least one grade younger than the survivors of the Sandy Hook school shooting, meaning that our entire education has been haunted by the idea that we could be shot just for showing up to school on any given day. We went through a global pandemic during some of our most formative years, and most of us spent it chronically online, which is an entirely different landscape of social interaction that is completely new to humans in the last 20 or so years. The expectations facing us in academics are taxing. All we hear is that our school careers are defined by getting into a top college because it's the only way to have a successful future. But those top colleges are harder than ever to get into, and they'll likely put us in debt for the rest of our lives if we do get in. All of us grew up in politically unprecedented times, meaning that we were forced to figure out who we were before our frontal lobes had even developed. And then we had to simplify that understanding of ourselves to fit into one side of any given issue. When examining the context of our lives, it makes complete sense that we feel perpetually overwhelmed, regardless of how otherwise privileged our lives have been. And trust me, I would and could continue to list examples, but that's not what I'm here to do today. What I am here to do is to say that operating under the belief that we are lazy or selfish or weak is counterproductive because sometimes your body and your mind demand a break and they won't work properly until they get it. My name is Amelia Kelly, and I'm a senior at Alta Vista Middle College. And I wanted to talk to you today about burnout, which is a term you've likely heard before. Burnout is what happens when life becomes too much. Everyday chores, school, work, your social life, dealing with your family, taking basic care of yourself, it all piles up. And all of a sudden, it's too much to handle. Everyone will experience burnout in their lives because it isn't always brought on by extreme stress or responsibility or even the very worst moments of your life. It comes and goes in different seasons of your life for different reasons. Burnout is simply your mind and body asking you to take a step back and breathe again before you damage yourself further. Most research related to burnout is done on adults, and the research that does exist for teenagers is focused on academic burnout, which is a huge issue and a big part of what I'm talking about today. But it is not everything, because we are not only students, we are athletes, artists, we volunteer regularly, are active in the workforce, we help take care of our families, we have complex social experiences. We are people with multidimensional lives and responsibilities. I used to experience burnout as a burning match. The match was struck when the pressure of all the expectations I had placed on myself created too much friction. It felt as though I was literally on fire with feelings of exhaustion, hopelessness, and resentment. But I was trying to act like I wasn't. I kept doing the same things, putting the same pressure on myself without putting out that flame. And when you don't blow out the flame, it continues to consume. For me, more recently, burnout has changed from an experience of constant productivity in hopes of it disappearing into one of destruction. The fire no longer had fuel on just the match, my body and my mind, and it wanted to spread to the rest of my life as thoughts of giving up stoked the flames. So, the fire turned to the rest of my life, my relationships, my responsibilities, my day to day actions, and it consumed it all in the flames. I gave up after so long of hoping the flames would go away on their own, and was eventually left with the charred ashes of my life as I had known it. Everyone experiences burnout differently and has their own story with it. So, what do we do, right? As individuals and as a community? What can we do to fix this issue we know exists? We know that teenagers are characteristically overstressed and overtired, but it doesn't have to be that way. What do we do to help each other? Well, there is no cure for burnout, and nothing will work for everyone because we each have our own individual experiences with burnout. But I have a few ideas, and it's some advice that I needed myself. So, first, I want you to let yourself feel burnt out. If the match has been struck, don't try to make it worse, but don't try to fix it either. Just feel it for a moment. This is a completely normal season of your life to find yourself in. Again, everyone goes through it. Sometimes acknowledging the symptoms of your body and your mind can make you realize that this experience isn't a problem that needs solving necessarily, but a sign that you need to let yourself be for a little bit. And that is enough. Once you've let yourself actively experience burnout, it's time to figure out why you are feeling this. Look at your life, everything that causes you stress or takes up time in your week, and what takes up your energy every day. What relationships, commitments, responsibilities, mindsets, and ideas and influences in your life are creating unnecessary or simply negative pressure? What created that friction in the first place to start that flame? By figuring out what the root of the issue is, often a solution can show itself, but it requires introspection and objective examination of your life as a whole. This can be a difficult step. Lean on others. Use advice from those around you, those who know you the best, because they have a perspective that you don't. We are blinded by our own experiences and our own thoughts and our self centeredness. We need to use advice from others. Lastly, is what I believe to be the most important step. After a long period of time, it isn't productive to sit with the burnout or try to figure out what caused it. You have to start making the change for yourself. Pretty soon, most of us will go off to college or will enter a career and won't have our parents telling us to wake up in the morning, our teachers telling us to get our homework done, or our friends reminding us to have a bit of fun. We have to start taking charge of taking care of ourselves because soon we won't have the guarantee of a fire extinguisher waiting nearby to help us if things take a turn for the worst. This means that even while feeling exhausted and hopeless, we have to begin to do the hard things so that we can save ourselves. Some of us need to stop procrastinating on our schoolwork and making excuses. We need to start keeping our commitments and upholding our responsibilities. Some of us need to take a step back from those responsibilities that we are upholding and spend more time with friends. We need to sleep more, get some exercise, or simply relax for a little bit. It'll be hard, whatever you do, and you may feel unproductive. But frankly, if you know it's what you need, then you should do it, no matter how hard it is. Remember that coming out of burnout is going to feel just as difficult as the experience itself, but it'll be worth it. It will be worth it. And this requires doing it'll be worth it. And taking those risks of stepping back or stepping up will be worth it in the long run. If you take away anything from what I tell you today, let it be this. Burnout is an experience that is universal, but it doesn't make it less difficult. So have genuine conversations about it, because connection will bring us better solutions. Remember to take charge of your own life and start doing the hard things if it's what you really need to put out that fire before it burns you up. Thank you for having me. Take care of yourself and others.